Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Gigi, and if you haven't already watched episode 1 of Storytelling Sunday, I will actually be putting the link below in the description box. So go ahead and click on that and get started with me reading the prologue. If you have watched episode 1, so if you've watched the video where I'm reading the prologue to Butterfly Curse, the book that I'm writing, then I guess you're here to listen to me read chapter 1 to you. So I'll just get right on into it and begin reading chapter 1 in a moment. I do just want to remind you, if you like the video and you like the story, please remember to press the thumbs up button down below. And if you haven't already, subscribe and click the bell button. That way you'll be notified whenever I have a new video releasing. So I hope you guys enjoy the chapter 1, and without further ado, let me get right on into it. Chapter 1. Camden Catacombs of Belwart City, Lower District. I sit shivering on the cold, damp ground, my body shaking violently with waves of pain. Through blurred vision, I see a pathetically pale body wrapped in a trashy, thin white t-shirt, and ripped jeans that do little to hide the colourful assortment of scars and bruises, some of them new, some of them old. Her long blonde hair is so covered in dirt and grime, it looks more like washed out mud, tangled around her small oval face like a bird's nest. With a dim realization, as if I'm looking through a window at someone else, I realize that pathetic creature is me, reflected in a large shard of glass. The paper-thin clothes don't offer much protection against the cold, biting wind, but it's all I have after my urgent move the previous day. Glancing down at the small microchip in my bloodied hand, a victorious grin pulls at my mouth, despite the ravaged lips and swollen face. A lovely parting gift from that weasel-brained arsehat that used to be my best friend. So much for loyalty. Who thought that coward had the guts to double-cross me to that crazy scumbag senior striker? Ha! Those moronic bastards are probably straining their tiny feather brains in an effort to find me, sniffing me out like the rats they are. But despite my bravado, hurt pulses from inside me as the realization hits me once again that my closest friend abandoned me. Hurt I didn't want to acknowledge. Joe never could live down the fact that I, an orphan thief, had managed to beat him in stealing the bloody heart of Queen Cassandra from the all-powerful Tiger Clan, a hidden underground organization run by a mysterious leader whose identity had yet to be discovered. Most likely because everyone that ever saw his face died before they could reveal his identity. The microchip once belonging to a certain senior striker, another mob boss, albeit a lesser one, was the person we'd most recently been commissioned to steal from. The microchip contains all his secrets and life's work, including evidence for his embezzlement and fraud against the council. Something our not-so-benevolent ruling government would kill to get. Real stupid of someone considered to be a clan leader, I know. Swapping sides was obviously the only way Joe could put one above me, as weak-minded as he is. Coming from a wealthy family, Joe had grown tired of having everything given to him and had turned to stealing and causing trouble for anyone and everyone around him. That's how I met him. He'd almost ruined my first ever commission and almost gotten the both of us killed. Since then, we were two peas in a pod. I taught him to fight and how to sneak into organizations like a sightless, soundless shadow, and he gave me a place to stay at one of the many penthouse apartments his family owned. Shame, You couldn't stay on the straight and narrow, as grey and as twisted as it was. Stupid gutter worm, I muttered disgustedly. Putting Joe aside, that blockhead striker senior had made a seriously grave mistake by leaving his most prized possession behind the beautiful but fake Picasso painting. Any thief would know about such a cliché hiding place. Vision blurring all of a sudden, I realise I'm losing too much blood. Bloody hell, Nix, I whisper as black dots begin floating in my eyes. Way to go, almost getting yourself shot down like a flipping amateur. Gasping in pain, I grit my teeth and wrap a piece of ripped linen from the bed I slept on more than 48 hours ago around my gammy, bleeding leg. If I'm wrapped in any more bed linen, I won't need a bed to sleep in, I growl inside my mind. Throat too sore from dehydration and almost strangulation to make any more sound. With a deep gash, there's no way I'll be able to last much longer without medical attention. And by the amount of blood pouring out of me like an open tap, I've made it easy enough for Joe the Hound, as I've now named my best friend, ex-best friend, to follow the trail of blood I've left. Slipping the microchip in my bra, I quickly rip the bottom half of my t-shirt and create a makeshift bandage to tie around my waist, stemming the flow of a large cut running almost vertically from my waist on the left to just below my breast on the right. Gritting my teeth as a fresh shard of pain assaults me, I stand slowly, carefully, and try not to collapse as dizziness swamps me. Grabbing at the cracked brick wall supporting me, my torn leg spasms, the muscles becoming so tense I feel as though they may snap. Willing myself not to cry, I begin walking at a snail pace through what remains of the Camden catacombs that were built in the 19th century. I've passed through them so many times in the last 5 years since moving into the city, I don't even need to see where I'm going. After what seems like hours and hours of walking, I finally crawl through the door of the old abandoned store I now call home, falling onto a rotting mattress. My eyes close as sleep calls to me. Just 5 minutes, I whisper. Then I do what needs to be done. The sweet floral scent of the gardenia flowers swirl around me, surrounding me in its heavenly perfume as the warm south wind dances, pulling strands of my ebony black hair in a symphony of movement. I can almost hear the soft laughter of the flowers as they sing for me, urging me to dance and be free. My body starts to move before I even realize it, gently swaying and flowing to the music surrounding me, cocooning me in my own world of magic. I feel myself forgetting my fears, my worries, the stress of the test just passed. There's nothing but me and nature, all I could ever ask for. A sound to my left has me snapping out of my trance, and I frantically search the shadows for movement. "Who's there?" I ask. There shouldn't be anyone here. Only the council and their progeny are allowed in the garden, and none of the above would be here, as they are all departed to earth not even 2 hours ago. A deep voice replies, soft like the night surrounding him, and calm as the moon's shining above. "Don't stop dancing. I didn't mean to interrupt." "Step into the light," I demand, more curious than frightened. What kind of man has the courage or stupidity to defy the council? I can't help but wonder what his face looks like. When his voice caresses me with its silky decadence, bringing warmth to parts of me I thought frozen. "As you wish, beautiful girl." A shape began to form, silently slipping from the shadows, yet not so completely that his identity was revealed. I can't help but gasp at the man's height and his obvious strength. He looks to be around 6'5", a mountain of a man, and reminded me of those large predatory cats you found on Earth, the black jaguar. He stood silent and tall as he leaned casually against the trunk of the tree sheltering him. But even that deliberately deceptive stance did little to hide the way his eyes caught every movement surrounding us, no matter how small and unthreatening. All the way his body seemed ready to strike, his skin alive with anticipation. My eyes were drawn first to his large feet, covered in military-grade black boots, their size reminding me of that old Earth folklore, Bigfoot I think it was called. His feet were indeed very large, at least twice the size of mine. His legs caught my attention next, covered in tight black leather trousers. They were beautifully toned and long, their sinewy muscle flexing every time he shifted. A strange heat began unfurling in my stomach, catching me by surprise. I could feel my cheeks flushing as blood rushed to my head. His chest was even more impressive, if that were possible. His flat stomach ripped with muscles so tight one could have washed laundry on it if there was a need. And there definitely was a need. His chest was so large, with not an ounce of spare fat on it, and his whole black and foreboding ensemble really made him look quite deadly and menacing. Not at all someone who I should find attractive. Forcing myself to move on, I finally find my gaze locked on his face. Body frozen, a silent, shocked gasp escapes me. I couldn't see much of his face, but his eyes, they burned into me. Molten silver encased in polished gold, they burned bright with an emotion I couldn't recognize. They were so alive with heat and curiosity as they stared into my soul, I felt myself getting lightheaded. My heart began racing 1,000 beats a second, pounding blood through my veins, an almost painful burning heat tearing through my body. Oh no, I whisper to myself. I'd been holding my breath the whole time, and now I was fainting. This can't be happening. I never faint, I find myself explaining to the mysterious stranger, rushing to help me as I fall to the ground, shock flashing through his silver eyes before darkness fills my vision. A sharp pain flashes through my back, and I struggle to pull myself away from the dream and into reality. My eyes are still blurred as I open them, a bright light blinding me momentarily. Someone's figure suddenly moves into my line of vision, blocking the light and allowing me to see again. I heave myself into a semi-sitting position. "Hello, Nixie. How have you been, love?" a sneering voice asks. "Joe? Why?" Despite my pain and the obvious wound he's inflicted on my back while I was asleep, I could feel the tears I'd been keeping at bay begin to build, once again blurring my vision. Why has he abandoned me too? Am I really no good trash? Even my dad left me alone after he promised he would always be with me. He promised. Why will nobody stay by my side? Loneliness I'd forced myself not to think about starts pummeling into my chest, making the empty hole inside me even larger. Wetness began rolling down my cheek, and with a start I realize I'm crying. I haven't cried since Dad died. Not even when I was being tortured by the Tiger Clan before escaping. Nor the time when I'd been... No, don't think about it, Nix. I'm sorry I had to betray you, Nixie, but you asked for it. You know you did. His voice quivered slightly as he spoke. Why? I couldn't get my head around what I did wrong. What I did to make him betray me. I'd given him everything I had. I taught him to fight. I'd allowed myself to be hurt so he wouldn't feel pain, and I'd comforted him, even after his father's weekly beatings. I'd even offered to kill his father, and that goes against everything I stand for, everything my dad taught me to value. You were always better than me, he shouted, his voice becoming ugly and harsh, his face turning a bright shade of red. You were always too good to fit your boots. I'm the one with the money. I'm the one with the looks, and yet it's always you people talk about. I'm just as good as fighting as you are, and I always leave every commission without being hurt while you're covered in blood. What does that say about your competence, huh? I can't answer. Answer me, damn it! You've ruined everything. Don't look at me like that, he snarls. I'm only giving you what you had coming. Forcing myself to speak, I find myself apologizing, even though I know I'm not in the wrong. I'm sorry I made you feel like that, Joe. I only ever wanted to be your friend and protect you. If in doing so a violent cough suddenly breaks from my chest, my ribs feeling as though they're splitting apart, my heart torn, ripped into by dozens of knives. I clutch my chest in an effort to stem the pain, trying not to lose consciousness. I hurt you. I really am sorry. My throat closes up again. I make a last-ditch effort to finish my speech. If I ever made you feel less than you are, then I don't deserve to have you as a friend. Darkness closes around me again, swallowing me whole. I hear Joe shouting at me, his voice nothing but a soft wind blowing around me. And that is the end of Storytelling Sunday. So I hope you guys really enjoyed hearing me read out the story so far, or the chapter. If you have any thoughts or comments about maybe how I could improve it, or you just really enjoyed it, let me know in the comment section below. I would really love to hear from you guys. And also, if you like the video and you like the whole idea of Storytelling Sunday, don't forget to press the like button. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And to hit the bell button, and that way you will be informed whenever I release a new video, whether it's to do with Storytelling Sunday, or whether it's other YouTube content that I'll be releasing on Wednesdays, and I'll be releasing on Fridays and potentially Wednesdays, but definitely Fridays and Sundays I'll be releasing YouTube content. So I look forward to seeing you guys next. Have a lovely day.
There was something strange about your voice.